Hello, Unbothered family. And this is going to be part 2 of the biblical Egypt was actually located in America. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and welcome back to the family. Now, when discussing any civilization, the focus must always be on a huge source of fresh water for agricultural purposes, because without food, there is no civilization or life. Ancient Egypt thrived as a civilization because of tech and because of the Nile River, which produced fertile lands necessary for agriculture along the Nile. Due to silt deposits. Now, the Amazon is the largest and widest body of fresh water in the world, with a length of 4,000 miles long, allegedly. I said allegedly because some scientists argue that the Amazon is also the longest river in the world if you add in the adjacent para estuary and the longest connecting tidal canal. Yes, due to the size of the Amazon River, it fits the description of being the upper Nile River, because the lower Nile River was the Mississippi River system. This makes sense too. If we apply the supreme axiom of as above, so below. Additional evidence that South America is Upper Ancient Egypt is the sheer number of pyramids in South America. There is more pyramids in Peru than all of Africa combined. Now, if we include the pyramids in Central America, it's not even a contest anymore, because they have found thousands of pyramids in Guatemala, Mexico. Now, please keep in mind that the pyramid is a symbol of Atlantis and Egypt. Therefore, more pyramids on this side, the Americas, means that Egypt and Atlantis were in the Americas also. Follow me. Now, best-selling author Horace Butler, When Rocks Cry Out, proved that Upper Egypt extended from Mexico to Peru. And he proved that Cusco, Peru, was the holy city of Jerusalem. Now, I agree with him on these points. However, Cusco, Peru, is also the biblical land of Cush, aka ancient Ethiopia, which is the birthplace of ancient Egypt, because the first recorded pharaoh was Nimrod of the Bible, and he was a son of Cush, or ancient Ethiopia. Namar is given academic credit for founding Egypt because he was the first recorded pharaoh. Etymologically, Cush and Cusco are the same because they have a similar spelling. Now, phonetically, Cush and Cusco are the same because they have a similar sounding or pronunciation. Yes, based upon the evidence, Cush and Cusco are one and the same. Who was Cush with the C or K? Cush or Cush? Well, Cush with the C is traditionally considered the eponymous ancestor of the people of the land of Cush, an ancient territory that is believed to have been located on either side or both sides of the Red Sea. As such, Cush is alternately identified in Scripture with the kingdom of Cush with the K, or ancient Ethiopia. What does Cush mean with the C in its Spanish equivalent of Cusco? Cusco, whose name derives from a Quechua word meaning navel or centre, dates from the 11th or 12th century and was the capital of Tawan Ten Shuyu, realm of the four parts, an empire that by the late 15th century extended to the northwest, some 1,100 miles, reaching approximately to the northern border of present-day Ecuador, and to the south, 1,600 miles, reaching the center of present-day Chile, as well as to the southeast to portions of modern Bolivia and Argentina. The population of the empire at the time of the Spanish conquest in the 1530s may have numbered more than 12 million. The city itself had tens of thousands of inhabitants, perhaps as many as 200,000. Cuzco and the surrounding area contain extensive Inca ruins that reflect great skill in engineering, stonework, and architecture. Still extant are numerous walls built without mortar. Their stones were cut in irregular shapes and fitted with such precision that a matchbox cover cannot be inserted into most seams. The famous stone of 12 angles is a fine example of this construction. The original streets of Cuzco are narrow and frequently stepped. Now, in this post is a 16th century wall mural, Cuzco Andes Mountains. This wall mural vividly displays images of the copper-tone Inca civilization and the power of the supreme Inca, the ruler of the state. Cuzco was the capital city of the Inca Empire and was known to them as the Tawan Ten Shuyu, the place where the four corners of the world join together. Interesting thing is that the underlying description sounds like the lower Garden of Eden in Lower Ethiopia, because you can see where the four corners of the world are the four land masses joined together around the tree of life are the Kaaba, Mecca, are the Virgin Mother, Mu, Mori, Mary. The above description of Cush is significant because according to the Bible, the Garden of Eden is in the land of Cush, aka Ethiopia. What is even more interesting is that the upper Garden of Eden in South America, Mount Roraima, aka the Tree of Life, which is the highest point of Ghana, is within proximity of Cuzco, Peru. Mount Roraima is nicknamed the Tree of Life because it was once a mighty tree that reached up into the heavens, and it produced every fruit and vegetable in the world. This mighty tree was cut down according to indigenous legend. Mount Roraima is also the source of fresh water for three mighty rivers, one of which is the Amazon River, the Upper Nile River. Scholar Kuri Mio Ahu came to the same conclusion that Mount Roraima sits in the mythical Garden of Eden in his video, Part 2, Untold Ancient American Truth, Garden of Eden, First Civilized Atlantis, which is embedded in the post that I'm reading from for your convenience. Now, Peru is Haru, since it was the holy city of Haru Salem. This is true because in Greek and in Latin, Jerusalem translates to Jerusalem. Please keep in mind that there is no Greek language because Greek is just the Egyptian Coptic language, Gnostic text, according to Dr. Yosef Ben Yakin. Also, there is no J in Hebrew, which means that the J, which is only about 500 years old, can be replaced with a Y, H, or a P, because in Hebrew, they have the same numerical value. Let us see what happens when you do so. Peru Salim, Yeru Selim, and Hiru Selim. Hero or Hiru, Horus. Peru and Hero, Helio, holy, all lead back to ancient Egypt. Hiru and Hero is a given because we all know that has ancient Egypt written all over it, but Peru is not Egypt. Or is it the Egypt of the West? Now, this YouTube video shows you so many similarities between Egypt and Peru that it is too many to be just coincidental. Now, the book When Rocks Cry Out by Horace Butler demonstrates that Upper Egypt extended from Mexico to Peru. Yes, Peru was indeed Haru, which is more evidence that Upper Egypt was in South America. Hiru, Horus, was the Egyptian Jesus, while his father Asur, Osiris, was the Holy Father or Christ. Mary, Aset, Mary, Isis, was the Holy Ghost or the Virgin Mother Mary that gave birth to Haru without the aid of his father Osiris. Therefore, Haru was conceived through Immaculate Conception. The Holy Trinity of Osiris, Father, Isis, Mother, and Horus, Son, is one of the world's first recorded trinities. In fact, the Christian Trinity is based off the Egyptian Trinity according to the history textbook, The Outline of History by H.G. Wells. Yes, Peru was indeed the holy city because it is the holy city of Haru, Jesus, who is the Egyptian Son of God. All right, follow me. Now that we know for sure that Cusco, Peru, was the land of Cush in the upper Garden of Eden, there must be a lower Cush, since there is an upper Cush in South America. This must be true, since the supreme axiom is the law of correspondence. As above, so below. Based upon the law of correspondence, lower Cush must be somewhere in North America, but where? Well, we have a clue, because the land of Cush is associated with the lower Garden of Eden, which was the Arctic North Pole or Mount Meru. This means that the land of Cush must be somewhere in the uppermost region of North America. Place names like Cuzco, Indiana, is a strong indication that Lower Cush was Cuzco, Indiana, or India, right? Follow me. Because ancient people gave people and places names after certain qualities or traits. Also, Cuzco or Cusco was already known is the Spanish or Latinized way of saying Kush. Additionally, they admit that this Cuzco, Indiana, was named or patterned after Cusco, Peru, in South America in 1905. Now, you can actually find this in Wikipedia, right? Now, because Cusco, Indiana is ancient, since America is the true old world. Now, a previous civilization of Atlanteans, Egyptians gave that area that name long before Europeans came to the Americas, and master teacher Bobby Hemmitt seems to think the same thing. Bobby Hemmitt quotes from the book Ice, The Ultimate Disaster by Richard Noon. According to this book, you had ancient Egyptians in Maine that were writing hieroglyphics in the 1700s. Memphis, Tennessee was named from Egyptians that traveled to the land. And in Oklahoma, in the 1800s, a stele of Pharaoh Akhenaten, Amunhotep, aka Moses of the Bible, was found before they knew who Akhenaten was. Additionally, in the book America, BC by Barry Fell, there is an alabaster egg of Kortush of King Tut found in Idaho. Also, Cusco, Indiana must be the lower land of Kush, since we have the lower Garden of Eden as the Arctic North Pole, aka Mount Meru, Lower Egypt, and Lower Ghana, all in North America. The Garden of Eden in the land of Kush, according to the Bible. So yes, Cusco, Indiana is the lower land of Kush. Upper and Lower Kush were like main centers of capitals, because the land of Kush in ancient times was the entire civilized world, which was the Americas, Eurasia, and Africa. Before it was called the land of Kush, it was called the land of Ham. Ham is the father of Cush, according to the Bible. Names like Cush, land of the blacks. Ethiopia stands for burnt faith. Egypt, burnt faces. Timbuktu, land of the blacks. And India, blacks, are all referring to lands owned by dark, black, or burnt, dark-skinned inhabitants. I just want to make sure I'm clear, because there seems to be a little confusion, so I'm going to repeat that. Name like Cush, which stands for land of the blacks. Ethiopia, which translates to burnt face. Egypt, which means burnt faces. Timbuktu, land of the blacks. And India, which translates to black, are all referring to lands owned by dark, black, or burnt, dark-skinned inhabitants. The Egyptians and the Ethiopians are too black, was a quote from Aristotle in 350 BCE. The 1987 Tennessee Continental Exposition, aka World's Fair, since there was once a pyramid there surrounded by Greco-Roman architecture. The pyramid was part of the Memphis Pyramid exhibit, so best believe there was more than just one pyramid on display. This 1897 Tennessee World's Fair even had a street Cairo exhibit. Cairo is the capital of Egypt. This exhibit was held nearby Memphis, Tennessee, which sits along the mighty Mississippi, River, which was your first Nile River. The interesting thing about Memphis, Luxor, is that it was the first capital of ancient Egypt with Cairo nearby. What a coincidence that we have a Cairo, well, a streets of Cairo nearby Memphis, Tennessee. I'll leave this here. And I am going to end this guys off. I'm going to end this off. Just let me know what you think. I'm also going to say one more thing though. The Ohio Valley is akin to the Nile Valley civilizations, right? Since you got the Ohio River, which is part of the Mississippi Nile River system, and you got a little Egypt in the area, a Cairo, a Thebes, a Karnak, and you got a Mississippi further down. The ancient Egyptian god Osiris is a corn deity. Corn is only found in the Americas. Woo! Mic drop.